Lester Bowles Pearson was born on April 23, 1897, in New York, and died on December 27, 1972, at his house in Ottawa. He was well known for his punctuality, the bow ties. He was the son of a Methodist parson and moved from parsonage to parsonage. During World War One, he enlisted in the Canadian Army Medical Corps. He then got transferred to the Royal Flying Corps, where he got the nickname Mike. Pearson enrolled in history in the University of Toronto and earned his Bachelor of Arts in 1919. His first job was in the meat packaging industry in Chicago. He returned to Canada to lecture at the U of T, coaching football and teaching tennis. After his teaching career, Pearson decided to start a new path in the Department of External Affairs. Deputy Minister in the Department of External Affairs, he promoted a closer bond between Canada, the US, and the UK. While being Minister of External Affairs in 1928, he had trained himself to become a writer and a perceptive observer. With the United Nations since 1942, he was involved in many international affairs since 1930. Pearson attended the United Nations Founding Conference in 1945 as Canada's ambassador. He was the president of the United Nations General Assembly in 1952. He helped to lead Canada into the Korean War as a contributor to the UN Army, and was also told to find a solution to the Korean conflict. Pearson received the Nobel Peace Prize for his peacekeeping efforts in 1957. He proposed that the UN peacekeeping force should be used to ease the British and French out of Egypt during the Suez Crisis in 1956. Pearson took office on April 22, 1963. His Liberal Party endured scandals, bungled budgets, and a debate on a new flag as Prime Minister. He also pursued a bipartisan policy on a philosophy of internationalism.
Those of us who aren't students of history might not fully appreciate just the extent of his accomplishments in that very short period of 5 years where he was Prime Minister.
It is considered by some to be the most productive legislative period in Canadian history.
In a minority parliament.
In a minority parliament. In that period, 63 to 1968, we get the Canada Pension Plan. We get we get universal health care. We get the flag, which is in many ways his finest hour because of the courage it took. We get open immigration. We get the Auto Pact. We get amendments to the Criminal Code. Bilingualism and biculturalism.
In World War I, the flag that flew for Canadian soldiers overseas was the Union Jack. In World War II, in January 1944, the Red Ensign came officially on the scene. In World War II, the Red Ensign came officially on the scene, though we sometimes forget. It's all right, Mr. Chairman, this is a veterans briefing. And as Harry Truman once said, if you can't stand the heat, keep out of the kitchen. But we do sometimes forget the flag designated for the 1st Canadian Division, the 1st Canadian Forces overseas, and presented as such to General MacNaughton on his departure from Canada for Europe, was one with 3 joint red maple leaves predominant on it. And I believe, as sincerely as some of you may believe in another design, I believe that today a flag designed around the maple leaf will symbolize and be a true reflection of the new Canada. Today there are 5 million or more Canadians whose traditions is not inherited from the British Isles, but who are descendants of the original French founders of our country. There are another 5 million or more who have come to Canada from other faraway lands whose heritage is neither British nor French. I believe that a Canadian flag as distinctive as the maple leaf in the Legion badge will bring them all closer, bring all these Canadians closer to us of British stock and make us all better and more united Canadians.
The new Canadian flag was raised on February 15, 1965.
L'étendard a été amené par le sergent Albert George Goswell de la gendarmerie royale.
Béni est fixé à la drisse. Il est midi.
Partout à Ottawa, au bas de tous les édifices du gouvernement fédéral, un étendard semblable est hissé en ce moment, sauf au sommet de la tour de la paix, où flotte l'étendard personnel du gouverneur général.
Because of his exceptional work with the UN while being Deputy Minister and Minister of External Affairs, the Department of Foreign Affairs and International Trade is called the Lester B. Pearson Building. Pearson was a Prime Minister, a statesman, a politician, a public servant, and professor. He excelled in all those fields.